Hello YouTube. Today we're going to do a quick EDH deck tech. This one is going to be around Jorn, God of Winter, or Jorn, God of Winter. And remember, if you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll be doing some more in the future, and I got some box opening plans for the future too. Today we're just going to do a quick one on this guy here. So he is 3 mana for a 3/3 legendary snow creature god, and he reads, whenever Jorn attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. He is also a dual face card. So on the back we have Ring the Rime Staff, which is 3 mana. That's a 1 blue and a black legendary snow artifact. And it has tap, you may play target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield tapped. We're mostly interested in this side, the creature side. Whenever he attacks, you untap each snow permanent, so that also includes your lands, so you can get double use out of your lands on a turn. And he gives all of your snow creatures vigilance. You can also use their tap abilities a second time if they're a snow creature that has a tap ability. So pretty powerful for only 3 mana. Even this side is pretty powerful also, once again, just for 3 mana, just being able to play any snow permanent from your graveyard. That includes lands, snow artifacts, snow enchantments, snow creatures, obviously, anything like that. So first up, we're going to have the suite of snow creatures. We have Rime Feather Owl, who's 7 mana for a star flying. His power and toughness are each equal to the number of snow permanents in play. And then you can also put ice counters on permanents, and permanents with ice counters on them are snow. So this guy can be a huge flyer. We have Rime Tender. It's 2 mana for a 2/2 snow creature. And she has tap, untap another target snow permanent. So kind of like a mini Jorn ability there. We also have Priest of the Haunted Edge. It's 2 mana for a 0/4. Tap, sacrifice, and target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow lands you control. And you can only play this ability as a sorcery. This is good with the other side of Jorn, the Ring, because you can play this over and over each of your turns to kill a creature. Obviously, you'd have to wait because he doesn't have haste. We also have Draugr Necromancer. It's 4 mana for a 4/4 snow creature. And if a creature an opponent controls would die, you exile that card with an ice counter on it instead. And then you can cast spells from among cards and exile your opponent's own with ice counters on them, and you can spend mana from snow sources as though they were mana of any color to cast those spells. We also have a big boy here, Icebreaker Kraken. He is 12 mana for an 8/8, but he costs 1 less for each snow land you control. So if you control, let's say, 6 snow lands, he only costs 6 mana for an 8/8. And he has an ability of when he enters the battlefield, artifacts and creatures target opponent controls don't untap during that next player's untap step. And then you can also return 3 snow lands you control to your hand and return Icebreaker Kraken to your hand. We also have Morite of the Frost, who is 5 mana for a legendary snow creature changeling, and you can have him enter the battlefield as a copy of any permanent you control, except it's legendary and snow in addition to its other types. And if it's a creature, it enters the battlefield with 2 additional 1/1 counters on it, and it always has changeling. We also have Narfi Betrayer King. It's 5 mana for a 4/3 legendary snow creature. Other snow and zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. And he has an ability of pay 3 snow mana of any color, and you can return him from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. We also have Icefang Coatl. It's 2 mana for a 1/1 flash flying. When he enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and he has Death Touch as long as you control at least 3 other snow permanents, which in this deck is very easy because that counts lands. We also have a Domitable Tree Folk. It's 4 mana for a star trample. His power and toughness are each equal to the number of snow permanents you control, and when he enters the battlefield, you can tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its next untap step. We also have a Frost Augur, who's 1 mana for a 1/2 snow creature, and he has the ability of pay a snow mana to tap him, look at the top card of your library. If it's a snow card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. It's a good draw engine right there. We also have Ascendant Spirit. It's 1 mana for a 1/1 snow creature, and he has a couple abilities here. He has pay 2 snow mana. He becomes a Spirit Warrior with base power toughness 2/3. 3 snow mana. If he is a warrior, put a flying counter on it, and it becomes a Spirit Warrior Angel with base power and toughness 4/4. And then also 4 snow mana. If Ascendant Spirit is an angel, put 2 1/1 counters on it, and it gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That last ability you can activate as many times as you want to keep on putting counters on it and to draw multiple cards each turn. We also have Blizzard Strix. It's 5 mana for a 3/2 flash flying. When he enters the battlefield, if you control another snow permanent, exile target permanent other than Blizzard Strix, and then you return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. And here we have Spirit of the Aldergard, 4 mana for a 0/4. When he enters the battlefield, search your library for a snow land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And he also has the ability of +1/+0 for each other snow permanent you control. So he can be a pretty big creature, and he also searches for any snow land. That's pretty key. It's not just a basic. So you can search for a utility snow land or a dual snow land. Next up, we're going to have some mana ramp. So we have Golgari Signet. It's 2 mana, and tap it, add a black and green to your mana pool. We also obviously have Soul Ring. We have a Sakura Tribe Elder. It's 2 mana for a 1/1. Sacrifice them, search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. And with this, obviously, you can get snow basic lands. We have Arcane Signet. We have Harrow. It's 3 mana for an instant. As an additional cost to cast it, you have to sacrifice a land, and then you can search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Of note, the lands that you search with this don't come into play tapped. Most cards like this do put them into play tapped. This one is untapped. We have Into the North. 2 mana sorcery, search your library for a snow land card and put it into play tapped, then shuffle. Once again, key here is just any snow lands. We also have a Simic Signet. We have a 3 Visits, which is 2 mana sorcery, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. There's 2 keys here. One is just a forest card, so this can search for a dual snow land or a regular like shock land. And then also it comes into play untapped. We also have a Llanowar Elves. We have the green-black Talisman, Talisman of Resilience. We have a Farseek, just 2 mana for a sorcery. Search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle. This can get either a snow basic lands, either a swamp or an island in this deck, or it can get a dual land as well. We also have Elvish Mystic. We have a Cultivate, which is 3 mana for a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other one into your hands. We have a Boreal Druid, which is 1 mana for a 1/1. Of note, he is a snow creature, and then he also has an ability of tap and just add 1 colorless to your mana pool. We have a Dimir Signet. And next up we have creatures that are not snow creatures. They're just good utility creatures, or they're also creatures that deal with snow as a theme, but they might not necessarily be snow creatures. So first up we have Rhymewind Chiromancer, which is 4 mana for a 2/3. She has the ability of pay 1 mana, tap her, and you can counter target activated ability, but you can only play it if you control 4 or more snow permanents. We have Eternal Witness, staple in every green EDH deck, 3 mana for a 2/1. When it comes into play, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hands. Any card. We also have Muldrotha the Gravetide. He has 6 mana for a 6/6 legendary creature, and during each of your turns you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. So this can play enchantments, artifacts, lands, creatures, anything like that. And you can play 1 of each of those each turn. So it's kind of like a better Cald's Ring. And, obviously Muldrotha is a very powerful commander, but also good in the 99. We have Seedborn Muse, 5 mana for a 2/4. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Very powerful card. We also have Masked Vandal. It's 2 mana for a 1/3 changeling. And when he enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. We also have Haidar Rhymewind Master. It's 5 mana for a 3/3 legendary creature. He has the ability of pay 2 mana, tap him, return target permanent to its owner's hand, and you can play this ability only if you control 4 or more snow permanents. We have Reclamation Sage. It's 3 mana for a 2/1. When he enters the battlefield, you can destroy target artifact or enchantment. We have Rhymewind Task Mage. 2 mana for a 1/2 with an ability of pay 1 mana and tap them to tap or untap target permanent. Once again, you can only play this ability if you control 4 or more snow permanents. We have a Hostage Taker. It's 4 mana for a 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. And then you can cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you can spend mana as though over any color to cast that spell. Next up, we have Beast Within. This is going to start the instance. So 3 mana instant, destroy target permanent. Its controller puts a 3/3 green beast token onto the battlefield. We have a Heroic Intervention. 2 mana instant, permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. We also have a Chinese Cyclonic Rift here. So 2 mana, return target permanents an opponent controls to their hand, but it also has that really good ability of Overload for 7 mana, where you return each permanent your opponents control to their owner's hands. We also have an Assassin's Trophy here, just 2 mana instant, and this one reads destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller can search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. We have the Secret Lair edition here, which is amazing artwork, cool border. Next up we have Gravenlore, which is 5 mana for a snow instant, and it reads Scry X, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast this spell, then draw 3 cards. We also have a Pull from Tomorrow, which is X and 2 blue. Instant, you draw X cards, then discard 1 card. We have an Arcane Denial, which is 2 mana counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of next turn's upkeep, and then you also draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. We also have a Turn Timber Symbiosis, which is 7 mana. You get to look at the top 7 cards of your library, put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If that card has a converted mana cost 3 or less, it enters the battlefield with 3 additional 1/1 counters on it, and then put the rest on the bottom. And then this card is also really good because it is a dual face card. So the other side is just a land that reads tap, add green mana to your mana pool. And it also enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay 3 life. Next sorcery is Glacial Revelation, just 3 mana. Reveal the top 6 cards of your library. You may put any number of snow permanent cards from among them into your hand, and then put the rest into your graveyard. This is a 3 mana sorcery that can, in this deck, draw you up to 6 cards. We also have a Diabolic Tutor, just 4 mana. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Very iconic, and I love the old border. We also have Bala Ged Recovery, just 3 mana sorcery. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. And this is also a dual face card. On the other side, it is just a land that enters tapped, and it has tap at a green to your mana pool. We also have a Blizzard Brawl, just 1 green mana for a snow sorcery. Choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, the creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains indestructible, and then those creatures fight each other. And next up we have Dark Petition, which is 5 mana. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. It also has Spell Mastery, so if there are 2 or more instance and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, you also add 3 black mana to your mana pool. So it basically reduces this card's cost to only 2 mana. We also have Dead of Winter, not Dread, Dead of Winter. 3 mana for a sorcery. All non-snow creatures get -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow permanents you control. So this card can be a one-sided wrath, where all of your creatures can survive if they're all snow, and it will kill a lot of your opponent's creatures, if not all of them. We also have Casualties of War, which is 6 mana, and you can choose 1 or more. Destroy target artifact, destroy target creature, destroy target enchantment, destroy target land, and destroy target planeswalker. Very cool card. Next up is Blood on the Snow, which is 6 mana for a snow sorcery, and you choose 1. You can either destroy all creatures or destroy all planeswalkers. Then you get to return a creature or planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow mana spent to cast a spell. We also have Overwhelming Stampede here, just 5 mana. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Underworld Connections, just 3 mana enchant lands, and an enchanted land has tap, pay 1 life, draw a card. We also have Merit Lodge's Slumber, just 2 mana, legendary snow enchantment. When it enters the battlefield or another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you get to scry 1. And then also at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more snow permanents, you sacrifice it. And if you do, you create a Merit Lodge token, which is a 20/20 black avatar with flying and indestructible. We have King Narfi's Betrayal, just 3 mana, and it's a saga enchantment. On Chapter 1, each player mills 4 cards, then you may exile a creature or planeswalker card from each graveyard. And Chapters 2 and 3 are both, until end of turn, you may cast spells from among cards exiled with King Narfi's Betrayal, and you may spend mana as though it were any color to cast those spells. We have Binding of the Old Gods, just 4 mana, also an enchantment saga. Chapter 1 is destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Chapter 2 is search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And 3 is creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. We have 3 Seasons, another enchantment saga. It's 2 mana. Chapter 1 is mill 3 cards. Chapter 2 is return up to 2 target snow permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. And Chapter 3 is choose 3 cards in each graveyard. Their owners shuffle those cards into their libraries. We have Icebind Pillar, which is 3 mana for a snow artifact. You can pay 1 snow mana to tap it, and you get to tap target artifact or creature. We have Arkham's Astrolabe, which is banned in Modern. 1 snow mana for a snow artifact, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and then you can pay 1 mana and tap it to add 1 mana of any color. We have Key to the City, which is 2 mana artifact. Tap it, discard a card. Up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn, and whenever it becomes untapped, you can pay 2 mana. If you do, you draw a card. And then we're going to have the lands next. So we do have a couple snow lands here. We have Faceless Haven, which can become a 4/3 with Vigilance. We have Frostwalk Bastion, which is also a snow land. It adds a colorless. and it has an ability of pay 2 mana until end of turn. It becomes a 2/3 construct, and whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, you tap that creature and it doesn't untap during their next untap step. We have some snow dual lands. We have Rimewood Falls. We have Ice Tunnel, which is an island swamp. Then we have Woodlands Chasm, which is a swamp forest. We have a Fable Passage to grab your snow basics. We have a Bark Channel Pathway, which is a flip land. It can be either add a green or add a blue. Woodland Cemetery. We have a Misty Rainforest. A Dark Boar Pathway. We got a Command Tower. We got a Verdant Catacombs. Opulent Palace. Zagoth Triome, which is a swamp forest and an island. We got Overgrown Tomb, Swamp Forest. Got an Undergrowth Stadium. Got a Polluted Delta. Got a Watery Grave, which is an island swamp. Llanowar Waste. Twilight Mire. And then we got a bunch of snowlands. We got a lot of different snow-covered forest here. We got some snow-covered islands. And then we also have some snow-covered swamps. And that is the deck. This one's meant to be a little bit more casual. It's just kind of fun. I really like the snow mechanic and different snow creatures. I've always liked them for a while now. Yeah, and that'll wrap up that video. I'll be back with another one soon, and then hopefully I'll have some Modern Horizons 2 to open up. I know it's a little bit pricey. I'm thinking about getting it. And then I'll have some more of the other sets. I also had a Strixhaven Collector's Booster box that was pretty good. So if you want to, you can watch that one. Yeah, and then that's it. All right, I'll see you guys later.